Welcome to The Point of View. It's your favorite current affairs show on television. Here we bring you the right guests. We ask them the relevant questions on issues that matter to you, and you usually get some important insights. Tonight we're focusing on the controversial issue of the system that manages the entry and exit of goods into our country. Started in 2002, at least. The company that we know to have been doing this was called GCnet in 2002. Many years later, we got another company to do another part of what they do. The company is called West Blue. It looks like GCnet and West Blue were working fine together until new developments came. There's a new company now that's threatening, if you want, to take over what these two companies are doing. It's leading to a lot of uncertainty at the ports. Today, we delve into the matters of managing Ghana's ports, looking at destination inspection, clearing, and all the issues to do with the ports and inflow of goods. I have a very exciting panel. I'll introduce them when I come back. Stay with us. So tonight, we are looking at the UNIPASS impasse, and we're going to be talking to three gentlemen in studio. We also bring you reports from various parts of the country where this is being implemented. I have Carl Saki, Deputy General Manager of GCnet. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have Dennis Amfo Sefa. He's the president of the Chamber of Freight Forwarders. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we also have Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah. Kwabena is a freight forwarder and the former president of the Institute of Freight Forwarders. Kwabena, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to state positions before we even start, GCnet is obviously an interested party in the matter, and they think that the UNIPASS agreement doesn't work in the interest of Ghana. So that's Carl's position. Kwabena is a freight forwarder who seems to tend towards the GCnet view. They feel that the status quo should be maintained. They don't think we need UNIPASS. But Dennis believes that the UNIPASS system is long overdue and it will help improve things at the port. You can send us your views as you watch the program on the WhatsApp number on the screen. If you're watching on Facebook as well, tell us what you think. Now, let me start with what the GIF, the institute that Kwabena used to head. They warned government against major setbacks in clearing activities at the main ports of entry, following the directive that all clearing agents to use the new UNIPASS system. Last week, Pius Emir Duku went to the ports to test their readiness for the UNIPASS system. This is what he came through with.
The new single window replaces the work currently being carried out by West Blue and GCnet. Their work will, however, be phased out eventually when the UNIPASS system is rolled out nationwide. Other collection points that the UNIPASS system is expected to be implemented starting on Sunday are Bogatanga, Wa, Tamale, and Sunyani. But the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Eddie Akron, tells Citi Business News the rollout may not be possible, especially at the Elibo and Avle borders, because of the limited time given for the new system to replace that of GCnet.
In most of these places, they're not using the GCnet system anyway. That's where you have the situation of head loads and all that. But the most important one, the one that hit me, was Elibo and Avle. I can tell you on authority, and I'm not just saying this because we're on the ground, this is where we work, that in Elibo, not a single training has been done for our members in UNIPASS. They have been there to inform them as to what is going to come. I think the last one, as I just called my chairman to find out, was on October 30th. Okay? So if you are going to migrate everything that they do onto UNIPASS by Monday, trust me, it's a chaotic situation.
Again, Mr. Akron fears that freight forwarders and other clearing agents who are unable to use the new system could be subjected to demurrages to be paid to shipping lines as a result of delays in clearing.
This is technology we're talking about. If you shut it down today, what happens? Everything is stuck. As for those who are involved, the other people who are involved in in this chain, they will be laughing all the way to the bank, because if you're thinking about the shipping lines, they don't care. At the end of the day, if you delay them for 3, 4, 5 days, 1 week, they're charging their demurrage, they're charging their demurrage for the containers. Exactly. To the importing public, to the trader. Now that cost is going to be transferred to you and me. The port is not going to stop, MP is not going to stop charging its rent. Okay? Please, let's tarry for a while. Okay? And make this right.
Though the Tema port is yet to be rolled onto the platform, these freight forwarders are already counting their losses citing their inadequate training and what they term unconvincing argument to replace freight forwarding with a new platform altogether.
Currently, Tema, there's nothing happening here. They've not started yet, but the information that we have is that they don't have it. And then in Tema here too, we are not seeing anything that really shows that they are ready to roll out the UNIPASS, because by now, something that will be starting in less than a week to come. We are not seeing structures being put in place to really start the whole thing. So I don't know how they are going to do it in Tema and then other places as well.
Education has not gone down well as a freight forwarder now. If you ask me, I should tell you what UNIPASS is going to do right now, apart from differently from what GCNet is doing or the single window is doing. I would say they are not going to do anything new. You understand? And even where they've started, they are piloting. The problems there are even much than GCNet. So if you ask me right now, I would say the idea is plausible, but it has not gone down well. So if they are going to do something different, we should know what differently they are going to do. Because as at now, we don't know any different thing they are going to do.
The Commissioner of Customs, Colonel Kojo Dama, retired, in an earlier interview with Citi Business News, allayed any concerns of a possible judgment debt to be pursued by GCNet and West Blue.
Unless it is an express provision in the contract that while this contract is subsisting, under no circumstances, and in most cases, in case of such types of things, you then have legal agreements to make. You try as much as possible to be equitable and fair to parties. You do not fetter my ability to disengage from something that is inimical to my interest.
The Senior Minister's directive further indicated that system user materials and audio-video training materials would be dispatched to members of the freight forwarders groups at the point where the system will be rolled out from Sunday. For businesses operating at the port, UNIPASS may interfere with trade facilitation processes as it will add to their cost of operation. For instance, the trade facilitation fee of 0.75% initially set is higher than that of GCNet and West Blue altogether at 0.68%. For a government which has not been able to meet its revenue target from the country's ports, at least for the past 3 years, it is resolved to ensure that systems have been put in place to correct this trend. But this will not come without hesitation from businesses that operate at the country's ports. For Citi News, my name is Pius Amihere Eduku.
So that was Pius Amihere Eduku's report. So as I said, in studio, I have Kalsaki, Deputy GM of GCNet. Kwabena Ofosuapia is a freight forwarder, former president of the GIF, and then is Amfo Sefa, president of Chamber of Freight Forwarders. Now, we need to mention some of the key stakeholders in this. Of course, the government of Ghana, through two ministries, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Trade. Now, the government arrangement with GCNet was signed with the Ministry of Trade. The government arrangement with West Blue was signed with the Ministry of Finance. Now, the latest UNIPASS arrangement was signed between Ghana Links Network Services, which is a local company representing Kupia, a South Korean organization, and this agreement was signed with the Ministry of Trade. So between the GCNet, West Blue, there was also CTN before UNIPASS. So in the past 15 or so years, we've had 4 iterations of managing our ports. Carl, let me start with you some brief definitions as a working thing for everybody. If we say we are talking about destination inspection, what do we mean?
Okay, so destination inspection is the process where you have private entities. Okay, so in Ghana we have private entities, and their job was supposed to ascertain the value. So they were doing valuation on behalf of customs. So you bring your goods, they will do the valuation, they look at the documents and be able to proffer a certain opinion. So at the bottom of it, they'll issue a final classification and valuation report, FCVR, and they tell you this is an opinion based on the documents we've received, and then customs can either accept it or not. In the past, we used to have the pre-shipment. So before your goods are shipped overseas, private entities would do the same valuation and proffer some opinion as to the risk levels and submit it to Ghana government.
And the customs would usually work with what the destination inspection companies do?
Most of the time.
But do we have private destination inspection companies now, or you are the only one that does it?
No, we're not doing destination inspection in Ghana anymore.
We don't do anymore?
No, what we're doing now is the customs classification, pre-arrival assessment reporting, which is done by West Blue.
Okay.
And so when the destination inspection companies left to protect GSL, BV, those companies were leaving, West Blue took over from them to do that function. So they provided a system for customs, and then customs was supposed to do the
So as we
evaluation.
speak, West Blue does destination inspection
They are doing the pre-arrival assessment.
Pre-arrival
reporting,
assessment.
which is the new WTO, WCO.
for customs.
For customs, yes.
What does GCNet do?
Okay, so GCNet, we provide the single window platform. So what the solution that the importers, the freight forwarders, shipping lines, basically all the third parties use, and then we also provide a customs management system. So technically, we're doing the full customs processing as well as all the permit issuance, the licenses, certificates of origins, all those documentation.
So you are the one who manage the single window system.
Yes, so we're doing the management. So we do the design, finance, operate, and then do the administration. So basically the technical management of the system. And then the end users, so the freight forwarders and all the allied entities, use the solution. And then we also do the design, build of the customs system, and then customs runs the system.
So customs runs the system,
Yes.
but you are the creator.
We do the management, the technical management.
So as we speak, before UNIPASS came, at least for the past few years, GCNet and West Blue have each understood their roles at the ports,
Yes.
the major ports of entry.
Yeah, sure.
How long have the two of you worked together?
Since 2015.
Since 2015.
Yeah, let's go.
So this will be like the third iteration of something. So initially, you guys were there with the destination inspection companies before West Blue came in.
Before West Blue came
And then
in.
the system changed for you to now manage one aspect.
Exactly.
And then they took over another aspect. Well, then what is CTN? When did CTN come in?
So CTN was brought in 2018, ostensibly to do what you call, to provide a cargo tracking note, which is a document that's supposed to be able to tell customs some sort of value of the goods that are coming in. So basically, as an importer, when you're shipping, you're supposed to provide that information to them. And so that was introduced by the Minister of Finance, I think, in 2018. And then there's another one, SML, which is supposed to be doing some sort of valuation also with CTSB. That's also another entity, yes.
So in terms of the entities that support government agencies and customs at the ports, we have GCNet,
Yes.
we have West Blue, we have CTN, and we have
SML.
SML.
Yeah, Strategic Management Limited, I think so.
So are these companies? They're all businesses.
They're all businesses, yes.
And we all understand how we work.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So who is UNIPASS? Or what is UNIPASS?
So UNIPASS is the customs, the Korean version of the customs system that we have in Ghana. Okay, so that is Korean version. And so what you have, when you say UNIPASS, we're basically trying to say we're bringing the Korean customs system to Ghana. And the drivers, or those who are pushing that, it's a CUPIA, which is the Korean equivalent of GCNet.
It's called CUPIA, C-U-P-I-A.
C-U-P-I-A. So they are like the Korean equivalent.
They
of
have the system that they use in Korea.
So they're the IT arm of the Korean customs.
Okay.
Okay. So just like GCNet is doing.
And
the
who is
IT.
Ghana Link Network Services Limited?
So it's a private entity here that was doing they do scanning in the port. They were doing destination inspection, and then when destination inspection contracts were abrogated, they were given the mandate to do provide the scanning services and the Tema ports and the other ports, airports, I believe. And then also at some point they were supposed to do external verification of goods on behalf of West Blue.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the role they were playing.
Okay. So sometime in 2018, the Ministry of Trade introduced UNIPASS and said that this was to make the Ghana single window more comprehensive. Let me come to Mr. Amfo. What do you understand by that? Is this something that you as a freight forwarder appreciate when the government said that they were going to introduce a new system, the Korean system, to make the current single window more comprehensive and to include a clearance management system, a cargo management system, an information management system, and administrative management system? Is this something you appreciate and understand?
Well, thank you, Bernard. I think that I need to give viewers a little history as to where customs documentation and cargo management system had come from.
Okay.
Since the customs reforms in 1991, Ghana Customs took a program that was designed by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development.
UNCTAD.
Yes. It was called the Automated System for Customs Data Collection, ASCUDA. That was what we were using. But that system has only a set of computer in a setting room, and then freight forwarders and importers are given what we call a declaration form, which you go to type all your information on, and then you hand it over to customs. Customs then process it through the computer systems.
Okay.
Somewhere in 2002, the Ghana Customs realized that documentation and the bulkiness of paper that agents and freight forwarders and traders had to carry around was too much. So they brought in GCNet, the first generation of GCNet, the electronic data interchange. That one, it was a single software that was installed on a single computer, let's say in my office as a freight forwarder. And it's that computer that does the data interchange with customs. Along the line, we've now grown into the second generation of GCNet, which is now web-based. You can access customs and send declaration everywhere in the world, even on your phone. Okay. Now, GCNet is doing the cargo management system and all other auxiliary functions of customs for them. In 2015, government said, well, I want to enable customs realize their core mandate of classification and valuation, which was being done by private entities. That was the destination inspection companies. So that's where we have the GSL, BVAG, Webfontaine, ICS, and the likes. So government brought in West Blue. All West Blue does is it created a platform for which the information that customs need from freight forwarders and traders will be sent on. And then customs will then classify the cargo and value it. After that, it is migrated onto the GCNet platform, where the cargo management system function is being done by GCNet. In 2018, government comes back again that, listen, we want to bring in another program called the cargo tracking note. Before the cargo even arrives into our ports of entry, we would want shippers and importers to upload every single document, all the export documentation, onto a certain platform so that we would have access to it before the cargo comes in. So as we speak now, we have about 3 vendors working with customs. Now, all what customs is saying now is that I want a single vendor who is going to do all these 3 on one platform. So you start on one platform and you end on one platform. That is all UNIPASS is coming to do.
Hold on. 2002, GCNet was introduced.
Yes.
2015, West Blue came.
Yes.
2018, Citi came. You are saying these 3 technically don't do the same thing.
Yes.
So what UNIPASS wants to do is to unify.
Thank you.
What
all
GCNet, West Blue, and CTN are doing. That's your understanding of this.
That is what is really going to happen.
So and you think it's a good idea?
Yes, it is. It helps everyone. It's convenient for all of us. You don't need to start here and here. Let me give you a classical example. Certain times we send documentation on the pre-arrival system, the platform, and they tell you that CTN hasn't been verified. So the document is locked up there until CTN is verified. They can't classify or value cargo for you.
So you're saying that the system we run is not a single system.
It is not a single
Even though we use the expression single window, there are 3 major arms.
Thank you.
What West Blue does, what GCNet does, and what CTN does. And in your understanding, UNIPASS is coming to unify
all the activities of the 3 onto one single platform.
But that means that it's going to render the 3 of them redundant.
But when West Blue came, it rendered 5 destination inspections companies redundant.
So you have no problem in GCNet, West Blue, and CTN all collapsing.
Bernard, quite remember I was here when I was complaining that, listen, if we look at the humanitarian aspect of it, why should West Blue take over the dealings and work for 5 different destination inspection companies, which at that time were employing about 2,000 Ghanaians. But government said, listen, the supreme interest of Ghana is paramount than those 5 entities. So let West Blue take over so that customs will now have realized its core mandate, which is classification and evaluation. And we've come far.
So you think this is a great idea?
It's a wonderful idea.
Okay, there are concerns we'll address. Let me just take your preliminary thoughts. So far, both of them have said the same thing. 1991, 2002, 2015, 2018. GCNet, West Blue, CTN. They do 3 different things. And UNIPASS is coming to unify. Do you agree with that interpretation of the history?
Yeah, the history is factual.
Okay.
But then we need to bust a few myths here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it should be on record that the atmosphere of single window can be achieved without computers.
Okay.
It is a principle. And when we are having the conversation, it's very important for us not to use the English language to, suggest that single window means it must be a single vendor.
Okay.
You see, because, examples are replete where even today, when you order any goods from Amazon or Alibaba or any of those platforms, the system of systems that affect that transaction before the good gets to you, you don't have an idea.
Okay.
You see, that is why in 2018, when we heard of this movement on the ground to bring on another experimentation, we sought to help the conversation. So we came up with a document. And in that document, we reviewed everybody's take in the whole delivery chain. And we pointed the things that must be done in order to ensure the kind of environment that we need for a seamless transaction.
Okay.
You see, so if you make it appear that because you can name systems, then necessarily the systems must not be able to speak to themselves. That is not on. What happens is, and when we
So you're saying that even though there are 3 entities doing 3 different things, we are still running a single window. That's what you're saying?
Exactly. I am saying that the single window is a concept. And that concept is that in delivering trade document for processing, for you to take your goods out of the port, there should be no situation which compels you to have to deliver the data sets repetitively.
I see.
You should be able to just lodge your data once and every system in place. Now, when I mention system, I mention it very advisedly. I'm not talking about computer systems.
I see.
Whatever the systems that are. So if you understand the principle of single window, then you will sit back and now appreciate the fact that computers or ICT just came to enhance
Fair
big
enough.
time.
So I just want to understand, you're saying the system works fine as we speak.
Yeah.
Are we meeting our revenue targets? Because I'm told that, for example, last year we had 91% customs met their target, 91%.
In fact, at a point we were told they even overshot their target in certain areas. Okay. Now, this targeting, revenue targeting, it's a whole discussion that we can have, because then you have to ask yourself whether even the targeting is right or wrong. But consistently, we have had customs hitting over 91% mark.
Which in your view is good.
Great.
So if it didn't broke, don't fix it.
That's it.
Is that the same view you have, Carl?
Yeah,
the system works perfect.
Yeah, the system works.
I see. All right. I will take a short break. When I come back, I'm going to look at the arrangement government has with UNIPASS. It's a 30-page contract. Some people think the contract is not good for Ghana because Ghana is going to lose money. The judgment debts are looming because of some of the clauses in the contract. And some of the freight forwarders who were interviewed say that the system is confusing. They don't know whether it's going to work or not. We'll be right back. If you have comments, let's hear from you on GCNet, West Blue, CTN, UNIPASS, single window, all combined. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Point of View. So the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Trade, has signed an agreement with Ghana Link Network Services to implement a UNIPASS system, which is really being run by Kupia, a South Korean management software, if you want. Now, the understanding is that it's going to unify all the three things that GCNet, WestBlue, and Citi do at our ports. In studio, I have Mr. Amofa, who is Mr. Amfo. I keep calling him Amofa. Dennis Amfo Sefa. He's the president of the Chamber of Freight Forwarders. He thinks it's a great idea. He agrees with what government is doing. Carl Saki is deputy GM for GCNet. He thinks it's not good for Ghana. And Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, former president of Freight Forwarders, he says if it's ain't broke, don't fix it. Carl, what's wrong with what government wants to do with UNIPASS?
Okay, so the point, what is wrong with this the argument is that first, government says they want an end-to-end system. Now, you have a fragmented system because it's government's own policy direction. So here you have a case of clear policy incoherence, that you decide that you're bringing Citi in. It's not a creation of GCNet. You bring other entities. It's not GCNet's creation. GCNet's contract actually states that it's supposed to have the end-to-end, which you actually have, but you're not using it. And so the argument that because I have multiple players, you have to bring another entity in for us as GCNet doesn't add up. The second thing is that you have a 35% stake in the company. Now,
that's GCNet?
GCNet, yes. Okay. The government owns 35% of GCNet. So you have every reason to decide what, to sit with a company to agree on the way forward. What are the issues? The third thing is that if you look at just last year, recently, it's just December, where you are espousing government from vice president's office and all offices espousing the benefits of the systems that have been deployed, paperless process, the revenue and all that. Suddenly, to come a few months and listen to the arguments going on, you ask which part of government is taking these decisions. And for us as GCNet, we look at the scope of the work, we look at what actually is being brought to bear, and we look at what the feedback is from stakeholders. And clearly people ask the question, what's so different about what you're bringing versus what is on the ground? I mean, technically, there's no difference. And so the question we ask, what's the value addition to the system? Clearly, anybody at all, with Ghanaians, you look at if something is actually superior, you would see it. You actually concede that this is good. But we're not seeing that. And so we beg to differ on that point, which says that end-to-end system, it's better and it's come to replace this. And so we actually don't agree with that assertion being made that you need
we were told that the UNIPASS system includes, and I'm quoting from the contract, clearance management system, cargo management system, information management system, administrative system.
Yes.
So the assumption is that what you are doing now doesn't include these things.
Actually, I think that the framers of the contract actually looked at exactly what is on the ground and put it in there. Because if you talk about clearance management system, that's the customs management system, which already exists. And you are doing that. It's a highly interoperable system. Basically, the system has the ability to interface with many systems. And so last year, when the government decided that we were coming to launch MPS, systems were configured and MPS is working. Today, you are doing a container every 3 minutes. If it was a system that wasn't good, you wouldn't be able to meet those targets. Second thing is you say information management system. Clearly here you are looking at business intelligence reporting. Today, as we speak, you have all government entities, the National Security, BNI, YOCO, Bank of Ghana, Statistical Service, even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. It's the same system which they use to provide their report. It's not from any other system, so you have it. Cargo management, you already have it. That's what you're using to do your delivery orders, all the charges, everything that the system does electronically, paperless, as was mandated by Vice President. It has been part of the system right from day one. And then when you talk about administration, you're looking at the personnel issues. How does the system even know which officer in the port to select? It is in the current system and has been in it right from 2002 when we deployed it. And so really we don't see any...
You don't see the difference?
No, we don't see. And the warehouse
and
all that.
I'm coming. Custom clear management system you've spoken about.
Yes.
Cargo management system.
We've talked about it.
Integrated risk management system.
It is there.
Transit management system.
Yes, you have it.
Warehousing system.
You know, the warehousing system, actually, what we have is more comprehensive than what is specified in the WCO thing, because you're doing right from the gate out, all the way into the warehouse, gate in, you're tracking the vehicle, how long it is taking the vehicle to get into the warehouse. We're looking at each of the sub-consignments, so every detail, that we track all those things, and the officer who gets it in, together with the integrated communication to the officers, either via text message, email, they can receive it on their tablet, which gets to let them know.
So you do warehousing. They also have something
they
they call passenger management system.
Yeah, passenger management system is one that we don't have. That I'll tell you. And it's simply because, you know, it's in Korea, they have that function. In Ghana, it's not one of the requirements of customs. If it's a new thing, and that's the point that all the players have said, that if you have any new requirement, you put it out on the table. This is something that we have. We had a meeting with GRA top management. These are not issues that has even come up. So we continuously develop systems. So the passenger management system,
that one you don't have. What about free zones and suspense regime management system?
You have all that. That's what issue of warehouse. And so when you talk about suspense regime, for instance, and I'll give you a classic example. In 2015, 2016, you know, the previous administration had what they called the Special Operations Unit, I think 2014, 2015, Special Operations Unit, where they came up and went after certain importers who had their goods in a warehouse for a long time. It is out of the same system. So the system basically is looking at consignments for which their duty has been suspended. So I've put it in a warehouse. That's suspense regime. I've put it in free zone. All those type of things we call it suspense regime. And the system does it 100%.
Now, let me come to Dennis. The report we aired, the freight forwarders were not very happy with the frequent changes, if you listen to them clearly. And as of last week, a lot of them did not think that we were ready. Some, in fact, we have a report from Lubo. Some say they haven't been trained yet. I think it was Takrady Port, rather. They hadn't been trained in the usage of this system. You are representing some freight forwarders, aren't you?
Yeah, sure.
Are your members happy with this new system and the frequent changes in the system?
Well, Bernard, when it comes to change, it's difficult for as humans as we are to just accept it. I quite remember in 2002 when GCNet was taking over, it started slowly. We even resisted. Some of us said, Ascuda is not broken, so why are you fixing it? The same language. We were all over the place. We don't understand why government wanted to change the system that we have because it was perfect and it was working. We were also complaining we've not been trained. But you know how GCNet did it? It took about 100 freight forwarding companies in Tema and trained them. My company was one of the first companies that were picked for training at the Shippers Council offices at the Central Gate. So it takes time. There is no way you're going to have freight forwarders going for a system or a change when they feel that I'm in a comfort zone and you're going to bring something new. We resisted GCNet, we were resisting West Blue, but today we are saying GCNet and West Blue is okay. So with time, we will get there. You'd see that in 2, 3, 4 years' time, we'll come back here and say UNIPASS is the best. Some have been trained. Not every single freight forwarder has been trained. Some has been trained. I sent you a copy of a report I got from my PAGA office, which clearly shows that the system is working. They've printed their files,
so
their
what
first tax bill.
GRA UNIPASS port clearing, bill payment receipt. Exactly. What does this mean?
It means that the system has gone through and the person has gone to pay at the bank.
So this is happening at not just the Tema and Takrady port, but also our...
This one is even in PAGA.
Entry ports.
All entry and exit.
PAGA.
I think it's only in PAGA, Elubu, Aflawo. Not Tema. You don't have...
We haven't
started in Tema yet.
Exactly.
So we started at PAGA, Elubo, and Aflawo.
Exactly.
And the plan is to scale it to Tema.
That is how it all started. West Blue did not start from Tema.
So what's the... Hold on. This UNIPASS thing, this is also from PAGA, right?
Exactly.
I see. So this is the receipt from GRA using UNIPASS.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. So they start at PAGA, Elubo, and Aflawo.
And that's how it all started. None of the vendors that are working now started roll out the entire country. We start from somewhere because Tema and Takrady are the biggest collection points. You don't start a new system from those collection points because if you start and it doesn't go well, there will be chaos. So you start from the collection points that are not so much, there's not so much traffic when it comes to clearance or export in that sector. So that is what UNIPASS is.
How long are they going to run it in these 2 places before they come to Tema and Takoradi?
For that one, I can't.
You are not aware.
Yeah, it depends on government and UNIPASS.
But your members would be more interested in Tema, and because that's where a bulk of the traffic comes in.
Exactly.
So we can't use Takoradi, we can't use Aflao and Elubo and Paga to say the system is working.
And I'm telling you, even if they come to Tema, they will not rule the entire Tema on it. Just like when we started with GCNet, they didn't rule entire Tema. They selected some companies and they started with us.
Okay. Now, Kwabna, what problems do you foresee with UNIPASS?
You see, Bernard, if you look at the story as it unfolds, you realize that in 2018, the notice was served that UNIPASS was going to start on the 1st of January 2019.
Yeah.
And we were called for sampling in the room, and we saw the system as was being deployed, and we raised concerns. Those concerns were upheld by the economic management team, out of which a decision note was issued. I don't know if you've cited the decision note, but if you look at the deliverables of the decision note, it outlined certain issues and asked for them to be sorted out.
Yes.
For UNIPASS to roll out somewhere in August.
Okay, so they suspended it from January to August.
Yeah. Now, the question we want to ask is, you see, we live live. We have live systems everywhere that we operate. This one is not like CTN, which is hanging somewhere. If it doesn't work out, you always have a way around it. We are talking about deploying a live system whose success or failure tells on us from the next second. And you are talking about a decision note, and the outlines of the decision note, it calls for stress test and asks for an independent arbiter to verify the stress test. Has it been done? It talks about how...
Sorry, was the result to be shared with you or with the EMT? That stress test and that work. Who was
because we raised the issues. We raised the issues for all of these to be done, so we have some comfort.
Okay.
You see, Bernard, we have benchmark in today's situation. It is not like when you go into an European restaurant where you see a meal that sounds so good, and you taste it and it doesn't taste good, and somebody tells you that that is the best that can be delivered. You see, this one, it is like kokonte.
You know what it tastes like.
We have benchmark. So, and we have told this to the trade minister last 3 weeks or so when we met the deputy finance minister, Honorable Kweku Kwatin. We told him that he shouldn't think that anybody is going to go into cahoots to plan against anything that is coming. But if it is good, we will see it the next second. Even like you heard my president say, I am his number one fan. So when the Honorable Deputy Minister took him on, I got a bit worried. You know, if the roadmap even leading to training is botched, how would you expect the system to even deliver? Trust you me, today it's fun to see paying slips being portrayed today, because I have been in touch with Aflau, I've been in touch with Elubu, even Paga. Now, I have not told anybody that we are going to call it, because I didn't know I was coming onto this show until in the afternoon. If you like, we can give numbers from our Aflau operatives. You call them and find out what is going to be the transition arrangements like. You see, we shouldn't...
Are you saying there's confusion, it's not working? What do you mean?
There is confusion on the ground. You can hear from our people. They really don't know what exactly that is coming, because it looks like the deliverables are being thrown at us in piecemeal. Today you hear of this, tomorrow you hear of that. There is no coherence. I mean, if the system is good, let us begin to see it. The sweetness of the pudding should be in its eating. It's not somebody who stays somewhere and will be telling us that this thing is good. So
based on the reports you have from your people on the ground,
yes,
the system is not clear or it's not working.
The system is not clear. We don't seem to have any tangible roadmap that has been laid for the rollout. It's like today, look, when we met Honorable Kweku Kwatin and asked him, so when are we seeing the start of this? He asked us to hold on a bit. And then 3 days' time, we had the notification from the senior minister's office. I mean, these things don't give clear signals.
Notification that what?
That customs should plug in UNIPASS and begin to work. Okay, then later we had a conversation, how do you call it? A correspondent that suggests certain outlines. Mm-hmm. I mean, even in some of these places, you see cargo just pass through like once in a week. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we really cannot use these situations to give us hope that it is going to be well. If it is going to be well, we are in a scientific space. This is not an issue of hope, it shall be well, let's try it and move on.
Let me just clear something. Based on the contract we have, there's something they call conditions precedent.
Yes.
And they say the agreement comes into effect only when all of the following have been met. 1, the government has handed over the GCnet and other third-party operations, mm-hmm. which in my insertion is West Blue, including the country single window trade operations and other support services relating to the processing of custom documentation at the ports to the contractor. Yes. The contractor being Ghana Link. So this is the first condition precedent.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it means government intends to hand over your company mm-hmm. and everything you have to Ghana Link.
Yes.
Have they given you any indication they are going to do this anytime soon?
Well, it's interesting. We got a letter last year, I believe, I think it was last year, from the senior minister where he specifically said that we should hand over certain things to government. And I'm just going to them that we're going to give to a new party. So things like a data dictionary. Now, data dictionary is, if you take a database, mm-hmm. data dictionary is what gives you information about all the tables, and it is proprietary to every system. Okay, so data dictionary, they asked us to give the architecture of our network, mm-hmm. the key users, so key personnel in GCnet, mm-hmm. their names, the passwords to the system and all those ones.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we actually responded. And we had a meeting where Honorable Kwatin was in our office, and we said, data dictionary is proprietary information. It's intellectual property. Source code is intellectual property. The architecture, the infrastructure, it's important to let people understand that the infrastructure is built and operated, managed by GCnet. So it's our infrastructure. On what basis do you say we have to hand that over to you? And we said that whatever it is, let's talk about the contractual issues, because the contract is up to 2023. And so on what basis are you saying that we are moving to a new system and so simply hand over that thing? Okay, and so that particular conversation is still taking place.
When did the senior minister write to you?
This was last year. I think it was sometime was it July or August?
But you have not handed over the data dictionary.
We can't,
nor
because
it is key users, nor the passwords, nor the architecture.
No, those things we can't, because those
cannot.
No, we cannot. But what you can, and we made it very clear, the data belongs to government. That, you see, it's important, because I've heard on other conversations where the deputy minister went to say GCnet is holding on to government data, which I find it's not a tenable excuse, because the data is being used by everybody as we speak. Everybody, customs, all the entities connected to the system have access to the data. What you want is data that includes the data dictionary, and that we can't give to you. But you can get.
So you distinguish the data.
Yeah.
As in, for example, how many bags of cement have come into
those
the
ones
country.
is for government. No issues with that.
The things they are asking for,
the technical things which actually impinge on the company's intellectual property. Those ones.
But the contract says the government should hand over GCnet.
Yes. So basically, hand over everything GCnet is doing, the operations and everything to UNIPASS. And
but you distinguish the operations from the technology?
Yeah, but even that, the operations and the technology, you put it together. The technical things is what makes GCnet what it is. And so we took umbrage at that. We said, look, this doesn't add up. We wrote to government. We've had several exchanges on that side. We even have follow-up meetings taking place this week where we said that those things can't be done. So
you cannot hand over the things government is asking you to hand over to?
Those intellectual property.
You cannot.
No, but you see, the thing is, why should you hand over something to a competitor like Kupia, which is doing the same thing that you're doing in Ghana? So basically what you're doing is give your intellectual property to another person for that person to enhance your system and go and market it elsewhere.
Apart from government, who owns GCNet?
So there's SGS, there's
Swiss.
EcoBank, yes, there's EcoBank, there's O3TAP.
Has there been a meeting to discuss this among the shareholders of GCNet?
Yes, there was a board meeting last year. There should be another one just around the corner.
Who is the majority shareholder?
SGS.
What percentage do they have?
SGS has 52.
What's their view on this?
So just like a private entity where you're looking at a government's intention or government's push to say we want to bring investors in. So they see it as a bit of, in one breath, we're trying to get investors in. In another breath, we're trying to remove investors, ostensibly using the claim that, we want it to be our own. What's the definition of our own? You understand?
So SGS is not very happy?
No, they are not. Nobody is happy with something like this.
What about the other shareholders?
None of the shareholders is happy. And so because of that, you even have, from this perspective, the majority shareholder, actually even an offer has been made to government that their shares, they are prepared to reduce their shareholding, and that has been communicated to government.
Is there an intention by GCNet to sue?
Well, you see, the thing is, if you look at the contract and then we look
because I understand that West Blue, your colleague, has sued UNIPASS for what they call intellectual property breaches, essentially copying their software illegally. That's the claim.
That's the claim.
You are aware of this suit?
Yes, we are. I know it's the case it's advanced in court. They should be calling. The hearing should start this month.
But GCNet is not minded to do the same.
No, we will be. First, GCNet, if you look at our contract, it gives us exclusivity, okay, with the customs management and all that. And so when you say we should hand over the operations to us, at what stage does the company go to court? Particularly when you start impairing the company's operations. And so when anybody says, the company doesn't have legal basis to go to court, there's no judgment debt, I think that we need to look at the contract in its entirety again. Because it specifically said it's supposed to be exclusive. And so when you start operations in Aflao, we're seeing operations in Paga and Elubo and so forth. Clearly, those are things that we have to. But from our position, arbitration or whatever you do starts with a conversation. And so we'll have that conversation with government and then we'll escalate it to.
We'll take another quick break. When we come back, we'll read your comments and wrap up on this conversation about the future of, I don't even know what to call it, destination inspection or port management or clearance or CVR or whatever. The future of all those things. We are discussing this with GCNet, with the freight forwarders, and we'll be here to read some of your comments. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is the point of view, trying to understand what's happening with UNIPASS, a new system that we are told will unify what GCNet, West Blue and Citi and does. Here are some of your comments. Iman and someone says, unifying the computer system is a wonderful idea and addresses the present challenges of transmission between the individual systems. However, I tend to understand this as only a political gimmick since I believe GCNet has the capacity to roll out this unified system than to use a new vendor. GCNet has been outstanding in customer service and most freight forwarders can attest to this. To us in the freight forwarding sector, customer service and help desk is paramount. Thanks, Iman and Soman. Felix, a freight forwarder in Tema. Good evening, Bernard. GCNet has been with us for almost 20 years, upgrading and patching their system frequently over the years. They have excellent customer service. They have a far better and superior system than the untested and proven UNIPASS. Felix. Prince, Kofredia, good evening. I want to know the demerits and merits of implementing the UNIPASS. Secondly, why is the government rushing through the implementation of the UNIPASS and when the main stakeholders are not trained very well to use it efficiently and effectively? All right. Let me come back to Carl as we try and wrap this up. So as things stand now, whether you hand over the things the government is asking you or not, based on the fact that a contract has been signed, at some point, you have nothing to do as a company.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. That's what it appears. We have other businesses that we're doing, but from the...
Oh, really?
Yes.
What else do you do?
We have the EHMIS, that's Health Management Information System. We have the cybersecurity, and also as an entity, we're doing the Domestic Tax Registrar General.
But how many people do you employ?
250 plus.
And what percentage of your work is going to be affected by this if it goes through?
Right now, if you take a percentage, you're looking at a greater percentage, 60% plus.
It means the company cannot keep everybody. Even if you continue working, some people have to go home.
Yeah, we might have.
And how old is your company?
We incorporated in 2000.
So this is 20 years.
20 years.
In terms of West Blue, how many people do they employ?
West Blue is about between 70 and 80 people.
And again, if this goes through, they will also go out of business.
They also go out of business.
What about CTN?
I have no.
You have no idea what
no
CTN?
idea. Yes.
You don't even know how many people they employ, whether it's a company or not.
I know it's a company, but I don't know the number of
Where
people.
are they from?
I can't.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I see. Let me come to the freight forwarders. Dennis first. You seem pretty clear this is a good idea.
Bernard, it's a wonderful idea. Listen, there's this I don't know, adage going around, if it's not broken, you don't fix it.
Yeah.
Bernard, we were fighting GCNet in 2003 when government was bringing GCNet in. We fought West Blue. I was in this studio with you.
So what has changed?
Exactly. And what has changed, and now we are saying they are the best. So it's the same thing.
Isn't it a customer? But you just heard me read comments from customers. They said they are doing well. As a freight forwarder, aren't you happy what you are getting?
Ben.
Yes.
Growing up, did you buy a black and white television?
No, the time I got money to buy TV, they are stopped
They've
producing
switched.
them.
Okay, ask your father. When he was going to buy the color TV, was the black and white television spoiled? It was working perfectly. The cathode ray tube at the time.
What's the evidence?
The cathode ray tube at the time, you throw stone, it will bounce back. But then if you need to improve a system, you don't need to stick with yesterday because you think yesterday is best.
We are told that UNIPASS, for example, in Cameroon, they've not been able to implement the system since 2015. Are you aware of this?
UNIPASS in South Korea is working wonderfully well.
In many African countries like Sierra Leone, UNIPASS have many challenges, including, in fact, they've not been able to set up, this is what we are told, based on documents we've cited.
Well, but it's not true. I was invited to Ghana Link's offices, that was last week, Wednesday. Bernard, go and take a look at the setup yourself. So I get surprised when I hear people saying they are not set up and it doesn't work. Their service, as I speak, is in the offices of the Ministry of Finance. They monitor it from their office.
But if their system is superior, why do they need the proprietary
it's the same
work
way
of GCNet to allow
West Blue was taking over from the destination inspection companies, they were asked to hand over the data they have to them so that they start to work.
So it's the same thing?
It's the same thing.
But
you have the last word.
We can't be.
You have just a minute. Yes.
You know what? When your preamble to this discussion was for certainty to prevail in the port. That is at the core of what the discussions we are having here. Now, if you clearly have a contract which says that handover for the contract to be consummated,
yes,
and it is quite clear that these folks are not going to hand over. What is the leg of this contract that we will have to switch everything and tie our whole how do you call it existence to? I mean, the forward is not clear. So why do we want to railroad this in because of authority?
So what's your advice to government?
My advice to government is to stay, just like my president said the last time, we should hasten slowly, because clearly the conversation with GCNet has not even gotten to the midpoint, let alone ending it. They are not satisfied.
So is it hasten slowly mean what? They should slow down?
They should slow down. Of course, everybody
but
likes...
But signed a contract.
Everybody likes this contract. If you look at the terms of the contract, whatever thing that must be invoked, if they are serious about it, it should have been invoked long time ago. I'm sure you've seen the timelines at which they must invoke.
So hasten slowly means what? They should listen to GCNet.
They must pull back and talk to GCNet. I believe there are things there are give and takes that can happen. One contract is going to end probably by the end of this year. The other is going to end by 2023. And we have a lot of time to do these things and to rush everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for throwing light on this issue. Viewers, we hope you've learned a bit more about this rather interesting topic. My guests have been Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, the man who just spoke, is the former president of Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. He's a freight forwarder himself. Dennis Amfo Sefa is the president of the chamber. So there's an institute and it's a chamber, and you are competitors. I see. And then we have Carl Saki, Deputy GM of GCNet. My name is Ben Avle. Thank you for staying with us. Hope you've learned something new. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.